Good morning. I did not know there were this number of people willing to get up this early in the morning to do something like this. I had to get up in the dark in in Redlands to get here. Okay, now, notice where the arrow on this chart is. It is between anxiety and denial, closer to anxiety. That is why I title this speech, "The State of the Inland Empire, the Adventure Continues." Because if you follow economic data at all, you know we're in the middle of an adventure. We're not sure what's going to happen 2020, 2021. Now, to take a look at that, the starting place is to look at the Inland Empire and its total population. It is larger than 25 states. Now, there are only 50, so half of the U.S. states have less people than San Bernardino and Riverside counties combined. We're just behind Louisiana. We will be passing them shortly. When we look at populations, wait a minute, why did that go away? All right, never mind. What did I do? Just a minute. Let me see if I can. Well, we'll skip that. Sorry about that. I had a nice little thing that showed the population of each one of you. The short answer is the largest city in Southwest County is now Marietta. Of course, Temecula is draining all your retail sales taxes, but you are bigger. Sorry, City Council, but it's not like you don't know that. Now, what's the forecast for the two county region? We're expected to add between 2018 and 2045, 1.5 million more people. You think you have trouble getting around now? Fast forward to, I'll be 104, so I don't care. But the fact of the matter is, it's going to get even tougher than it is now. Notice who's behind us in growth. LA County is going to add about half that number. And then when you look at the combination of San Diego plus Orange plus Ventura plus Imperial, we're going to add 400,000 more people than that whole group. So where are things going to happen? Out here, and increasingly down here off the 215 as a consequence of the fact that there is still land down here. I just noticed it when I came down. Is it Briggs I drove down? Yeah, down Briggs. We're going through and my wife and I are saying, oh, there's still farm company. All of a sudden we cross a boundary and here's nothing but houses. So you see it coming. That'll take us up to 6.1 million total people in the area. Now, our issues are very interesting. When you look at the overall population of the two counties, 46.3% of adults are high school or less. Now that shapes, to a large extent, what kind of an economy we can have. Because if that's what you've got, it's going to be tough to lure certain types of companies to the area. The year before, these are 2018 data, 2017, it was actually slightly a smaller percentage. So it sort of moved in the wrong direction. Now, if we look here in Southwest County, much better. Marietta, 35.5%. 44.5% in Wildomar, 28.5% in Temecula, 44.8% in Lake Elsinore, and 43.1% in Menifee. All 5 cities are better off than the regional average. And of course, Marietta and Temecula in particular are much, much better off in terms of the education. And a lot of this has to do with who moved here. A lot of it came out of San Diego. They bring their educations with them, and that's one of the consequences. If we then look at AA and above, then the Associate of Arts degree is crucial because so much of the way the economy is growing is people who need technical skills, not necessarily only bachelor skills. Here in the region, it's 30.2% of adults, substantially less than LA, below the state of California, and way below the south coastal counties, which, not including LA, would be Orange and San Diego, Ventura, and Santa Barbara. Look at the Bay Area, 51.3%. Part of the problem we face in Southern California is a lot of our economic policies are set by people who have grown up and lived in the Bay Area. I know because I'm a refugee from there. And the fact of the matter is, they tend to control thinking in Sacramento. And Sacramento thinks the Bay Area is normal. It is not normal. It is weirdly high educated. It was 29.8 in 2017, so it's improved. Looking here in this area, Wildomar, 41% of the population, so you're up in the neighborhood of the state. I'm sorry, that was Marietta. Wildomar, 25%, Temecula, 43.5%, Lake Elsinore, 27.7%, Menifee, 26.1%. So again, in particular, Temecula and Marietta are really acting a lot like coastal counties in terms of their educational profile. And the fact that you have companies like Abbott in this area, it's not a surprise because of that educational profile. When we look at the region as a whole, what we find is that we have been growing rapidly as a region. The most recent number this year is running around 38,000. If you look at what happened with the recession, we lost 140,000 jobs. We've gained back 390,000. So we're roughly 250,000 jobs above where we were back in '07. So we've done spectacularly. That's 19.1% higher. Now, if we look at 2018 for the whole year on average, the most jobs created in the state of a metro area was in LA, which you'll expect because it's a huge economy, 60,908. Second, and only about 1,100 jobs behind that, is the Inland Empire. Then you have San Francisco, San Mateo, way behind the Inland Empire. So if you look at that and you'll go, San Francisco, San Mateo area, that's where Stanford is and all the rest, they think they are the center of the universe. They are not. We are. Now go below that. San Diego, 32.5. Orange, 32.1. Then there's Silicon Valley. They probably are the center of the universe, at least technology, but they aren't creating a lot of jobs, less than half what was created down in our two-county area. When we look at incomes in the region, this chart, if you look all the way across, Temecula, the median income in Temecula, 96,402, followed closely by Marietta, 88,717. Both of those are higher than Orange or Ventura counties. Menifee is a little below Ventura, but above San Diego. Then Lake Elsinore and Wildomar, both of which are above the Inland Empire, and the Inland Empire is above LA. Now I will tell you this chart is not the actual numbers. What I did was I took the coastal counties and I subtracted out the difference between the cost of housing here and the cost of housing there. So this is about looking at ability to spend after you've paid your mortgages and all your other housing costs, which is, I think, a fair way to look at this. So LA actually comes out below the Inland Empire when you make that adjustment. Now, poverty is a major issue. If you look in the Inland Empire for children, 19.1% of children under 18 are living in poverty. If you go back 2 years, it was 23.5, dropped to 19.3, dropped to 19.1. As the economy has expanded, you would anticipate poverty going down, and it did. When we look at children's poverty here in Southwest County, Marietta is best, only 6%. Menifee 6.9, Temecula 10.1, Wildemar 15.7, and Lake Elsinore 20.3. If we look at all people, 13.7%. It was 16.4 2 years in 16 and 17. It was 14.5. It's now down to 13.7. It is improving. Here in Southwest County, the place with the least poverty for all people, Marietta, 5.8. Menifee, 6.8. Temecula, 7.7. Lake Elsinore, 12.2. Wildemar, 12.7. Now, this is unfair to Wildemar because Wildemar's data for 2018 isn't available until sometime in December. So it's 1 year older than that, so the figure will be lower. Now, ethnicity. What's the makeup of Southwest Riverside County versus the Inland Empire? Hispanics, 39.3 versus 53. White non-Hispanics, 48.1 versus 32.2. So you're seeing a picture closer to San Diego County than it is to the balance of the Inland Empire. And then the others are fairly small, slightly higher Asian and Pacific or almost identical Asian and Pacific and African American. In Marietta, 34.1 Hispanic, so it's less than the region. White is 48.2. It is right on the region. Now, a little bit about economic theory. There's a test at the end of this. You have to pay double for your breakfast if you didn't get this right. Stop and think of a gold mine in the Old West. What happened? People dig up gold. You can't do anything with it, so you ship it away, and it brings money to a place with no economy. Now, what do miners need? Well, they need food and tools. Somebody like Levi Strauss comes up and invents jeans and comes out and sells them. So you need food and tools, but the money going to the general store is the same money. It's just turning over again. What else do miners need? Well, they need entertainment. So you have the saloon. Again, the saloon isn't driving the economy, the miners are. Miners have other needs, we'll skip that part. My wife absolutely hates that slide. But like was said in the introduction, I used to run a casino in Nevada out in the cow counties. You can imagine, I'm a former college professor running a casino, and part of my marketing strategy is with the town madam. That was bizarre. Now, what are the gold mines in this area? Well, first of all, it's logistics and distribution. It is a major driver. Second is construction. You have a little bit of that going on down in this region. Third is healthcare. A lot of that going on, good strong sector. Fourth is manufacturing. You have a good deal of high-end manufacturing down in this area. And then finally, high tech. Again, this is an area that has that where the rest of the region pretty much does not. They bring the money. Then where's the money go? It goes into consumer services on the left, and then on the right it goes into retail and things like that. Now, let's look at those sectors that draw the money. Healthcare, median pay, $65,757. What's driving this sector? To a large extent, the Affordable Care Act. Back in 2012, 20.5% of the population in this region had no health care. 877,000 some odd people, almost 878. It dropped as low as 7.8 and 351,000. It is kicked back up to 382 and 8.4%. Now, this does two things. One, it increases the standard of living because people have access to health care, which is a key part of their standard of living. But the other thing it does, as these tables over here will certify, and one over there, Healthcare demand for workers in order to fill the demand from people needing healthcare has gone up. And those are good paying jobs. So it's a major part of the upscale part of our region's economy. What are the shares by city? Temecula 5.1 without healthcare. Marietta down to 5.4. Elsinore 7.4. Menifee at 8.3, Wildomar at 10.5, but again, lagged 1 year. So what are we looking at in healthcare services? 5,700 more jobs probably added in the whole region this year. Now, some of you go to high-end restaurants. On the table, you will find pink salt that'll say Himalayan salt or salt from Tibet. Now, so what? Well, one of the things I do is I go on adventures. And one of the adventures was to cross the Himalayas from Nepal over the top of the Himalayas into Tibet. Going around a corner, going up a steep grade, this was coming at me. Now, what is it? They're goats. And every goat has saddlebags. And in every saddlebag, there is a square of ancient salt cut out of a dry lake up in Tibet. This is called logistics. It is bringing salt from Tibet to be on your tables in Temecula, Marietta, Wildomar. This sector has a median pay of $49,106. That's the full spectrum at a medium, not pulled high by a few extremes. The beginning salaries in this sector have moved up to roughly $15. Why? Because of one company, Amazon. Amazon decided to pay all their employees, including their part-time, $15 an hour. So what did the other companies have to do? Go up to $15 an hour because Amazon sucks everybody else's employees if they don't meet that threshold. So it's raised the standard of living at the bottom end of the logistics sector as well. This is what drives it. 0.6% of all sales retail back in 2001 were online. It's now 10.7. Let me ask in this audience, who in here hasn't bought something online this year? Raise your hand. Anybody? Nobody. It used to be one old guy like me, who I said, therefore lost his American citizenship. But this is what we do. Now, what's this red line? This red line, and you see it almost straight, starting in 2011, is the pace at which this is growing. And that line is right at 15%. It wiggles a little bit. The most recent year, it was up 13.3%. How would you like your 401k to be an automatic pilot, growing at 13 to 15% without even thinking about it? That's what's going on. Where's it headed? Probably as high as 20. Why? Because a lot of us are old and going to die, and all the millennials in the room, if you follow them around in a store, they'll look at what they want, they'll look online and figure out how to get it cheaper. That's going to drive it faster and faster. Now, the other thing that drives this sector is imports through the ports of LA and Long Beach. 9 million TEUs was the peak last year. This year, it was at 8.8 in August. It's now down to 8.6. It is shrinking. Why is it shrinking? Because of tariff man. The tariffs that the president has put on imports have dramatically slowed at the end of 2019, the volumes coming in, which directly affects employment in the Inland Empire. This is what happens with those big buildings. You haven't got a lot of them down in this area. Most recent 4 quarters ended in June, 22.6 million square feet of space net absorbed. That's 22 1 million square foot buildings taken off the market with employers moving here and bringing jobs. Construction, where is it going on? We absorbed 22 million. We're in the process, as of June, building 28 million. That is 74% of all the construction going on in Southern California. Who's second? Honestly, who cares? It's LA County, but they're just small. Job growth here, about 11,400 jobs. A powerful sector that has added since the recession 90,000 jobs into the two-county economy. Another thing helping drive all this is what's going on at my favorite airport, LA Ontario Airport, which used to be owned by the city of Los Angeles, used to be driven or controlled by LAWA, an agency of the city of Los Angeles. Since we got it back, one of the things that's happened to air cargo tonnage, last year went up 12.4%. This year it's up another 3.4%. It's at record levels. It is incredibly strong, and that's almost all e-commerce because that's the headquarters for UPS. But what isn't on the chart is what's on the way. What's on the way is coming out of LAX is FedEx is moving their distribution centers onto Ontario, and so is FedEx. In fact, all three of those companies are now landing at March Air Reserve Base and landing at San Bernardino International because they've got so much demand that they need to get out here for. The other thing happening there is passenger traffic, up 12.4 last year. This year so far up another 7.1, but it's only back to the 1989 level. In that time, we've doubled the population, more than doubled the number of jobs, and almost tripled the number of companies in this region. Yet despite that, LAWA couldn't seem to figure out policies to allow Ontario to expand. In fact, what they wanted to do was force all of us to drive to LAX. You ever driven to LAX to get a flight? It's suicidal. So what I was giving a speech like this, and I did not know that over in the corner was a reporter for the LA Times, and I said in the middle of the fight over getting control of Ontario that the LAWA board ought to burn in hell. That got itself into the LA Times. I have done no work in LA since. My big mouth. Now, manufacturing, what's it pay? 54,000 median, half above, half below. This is the Purchasing Managers Index for the Inland Empire. And if you look here, you can see it's working its way down. Now, who cares about purchasing managers? Well, economics is a bit like being a detective. I always think of myself as Humphrey Bogart. You know, running a casino, Casablanca, all of that. One of the things that we talk to the purchasing managers for is they're the ones told about where's the company going, what supplies to either buy or not buy. So they know first what's going on. Notice it's working its way down. The national figures are worse. We are actually already in a manufacturing recession nationally. The other problem we find here, if you look at Colorado, 713, down to Washington, 444, that is the cost of electrical energy in the other western states. There is California. Now, I have a friend that owns a propeller company in South Carolina. He used to be in Oakland. They have a lot of propellers. It's very high-end for people with sport runabouts and all the rest. And he said, oh, maybe I should move back to California because I have so many clients there. Well, if he stops off in Phoenix, they will tell him that the cost of electrics in California is 98% higher than it is in Phoenix in Arizona. If he stops off in Nevada, it's 140% higher. Guess what? He ain't coming to California. And therein lies the problem for manufacturing. This state, because of its regulatory policies, to a large extent has killed off the growth of manufacturing, except in high-tech firms that can make up for the differences. Job growth in this field, manufacturing, very slow, only about 1,500 this year. Then there is construction, median income 52. Now, here, home prices are a critical measure. New homes peaked at 437 before the recession. They're now at 448. They are 2.7% higher. If we look at the red dots, which is existing homes, peaked at 389, they're back to 364. They're 7.6% below the peak. What about here in Southwest County? Well, what do we see? The Inland Empire, you see the numbers I just cited. Temecula, 494 was the peak. It's back to 494, right at the peak. Marietta is up to 499, higher than Temecula and above its previous peak. Elsinore, 413 versus 378, above its peak. Menifee, 357 versus 351. Wildomar, only 490 versus 316. The fact of the matter is that we're seeing new and existing homes go above the peaks. That's existing. What about new? Well, Temecula is 674, above 620. Inland Empire, way below that. Marietta, 570 versus 446. Menifee, 351 versus 423. Elsinore, 486 versus 417. I love Wildomar. 746.5 versus 344. The new home market is much more expensive than it was before the recession. Now, the price competition. Why do companies move to the Inland Empire? The answer is because, or not companies, people, and then companies will tend to follow. In San Bernardino County, 330 is the is the median income. The median house price for both. Riverside, it's 401 now. What you save compared to LA, Orange, and San Diego is 270 to San Diego, 216 to LA. 287 compared to LA. 462, that's compared to San Bernardino. Compared to Riverside, you save almost exactly 200 compared to San Diego, 216 to LA, 391 to Orange. This is why people have flocked up out the 215 from San Diego, out the 91 into Riverside County. One of the things going on is people that are middle class and poor can no longer live in the coastal counties. They have to migrate income. Into this area, inland, thank you. That was called a senior moment. All home sales, what do you see? A flat line. There has not been any great increase in all home sales. Existing home volumes, 2026 was the change from 2017 to 2018 so far, down 7.3. Temecula, 1928, down 9.4. 1788 in Menifee, down 11.4. 1111 in Wildomar, down 6.2. And in Elsinore, 1053, down 15.2, compared to the same period of 2017. Oops, sorry, got lots of arrows. Now, new home sales, again, 2017 versus 2018. Menifee was up 53.3%. Elsinore down 2.5, so basically flat. Marietta off 18.7. Temecula off 34.4. Wildomar off 28.1. So some slowing going there except in Menifee. Construction job growth, for some reason this year, is not keeping up. It was going pretty strong, but so far the data has come in at 1,200. Now, I will tell you, these data come from EDD, California Employment Development Division. They are, in fact, suspect. I don't believe them. That's part of my job. Finally and lastly, we have these 4 population-serving, lower-paying areas. Now, why do I have them on here? Well, first of all, Sears. What's happening to Sears? It is shrinking dramatically. Why? E-commerce. And that, of course, is hurting the cities because e-commerce grows and the cities get less and less as a consequence of retail sales taxes. Nordstrom's, why did I have that? The high end are doing very well. Actually, that's a lie. It is doing well. The reason it's on here is my wife has a personal shopper at Nordstrom's. That's why at 78 I'm still working. In-N-Out Burger, why do I have that there? Because it's the 3rd strongest sector we've got. What about Mexico Cafe? I'm going to get out of here and head for there and have a margarita. This sector pay only $34,000. You can see here that taxable sales in Riverside County have been going up. They're up 30.5% from the peak in 06. Inflation's 26.4, so the purchasing is higher. In Lake Elsinore, they're up 55.5 versus 19.2 since their peak in 2018. In Menifee, they're up 115.6% versus the inflation, so they're better off. Marietta, up 80% versus 19.2. The city's better off. Temecula, up 50.9 versus 19.2, better off. Wildomar, up 130.3 versus 19.2, better off. All of the cities in Southwest County, because of the shifts in population and spending, have in fact benefited in the retail sales world, with the biggest benefit coming in Wildomar and in Marietta. Excuse me. Assessed valuation. You've seen growth of 42.5 in Temecula, 43.5 in Marietta, 78.7 in Menifee, 68.7 in Lake Elsinore, 15.9 in Wildomar, all versus 45.5 in the county. So Menifee, Lake Elsinore, Wildomar, fast in the county, Temecula and Marietta, just a little bit slower. Now when we, whoops, I went the wrong way here. Population, did I go the wrong, I'm pushing the wrong button, sorry. Trying to go too fast here. All right. Finally and lastly, how many jobs creating this year? If we add up everything that I've showed you in each of the sectors, we're going to add all together about 38,000. That's growth at 2.53%. It will keep us in first place in percentage job growth in the region and second place to LA County overall. Now, this is going to go online probably by the end of the week. I sent it last night to my guy that runs my site, so you can download this if these data would be useful to you and put them to work. And I thank you very much for this opportunity.
We incorporated in 2008, and immediately thereafter, as you all know, we hit a terrible recession, and then the state of California did us no favors and took away a lot of other funding sources that were very important to city government. So really for the past 10 years or so, we've been treading water and just trying to stay afloat. And we haven't really been able to accomplish some of our more wish list items. We've just been taking care of survival mode, basically. And then in 2018, 2019, we did see some of that funding come back. Of course, we are mostly recovered from the recession as a region, and we also passed a Measure AA sales tax. So we are starting to finally see some of that money coming back into the coffers, and we're happy to say that we are well afloat, and we are starting now to look forward and accomplish some of those more wish list items that we haven't been able to do for the past 10 years. So maturity-wise, even though we're 11 years old, we're really only about 2 years old in maturity. So, and one of those things that we were able to do was form an economic development department, which I was very happy about. So This presentation will be a little bit about us looking forward and what we are looking to accomplish in the coming years. So as I said, we did get our VLF fees back from the state of California, and that looked like $2.7 million for us. And we did pass the Measure AA sales tax measure, which by April of next year should put approximately $2.4 million back into our general fund. So we're very excited about that. That obviously gives us some budget to work with in our general fund. So I created this flow chart to really explain economic development. And what I did was I put people at the very top of that flow chart, because in my opinion, if we didn't have any people in Wildomar, there'd be no reason for us to be there. We could close up shop and go home. We wouldn't have to worry about anything. Fortunately, we have about 36,000 people in Wildomar. And what that brings when you have people is that brings businesses. You have to have retail to support those people. You have people starting other businesses, boutique shops, office jobs, that sort of thing. Once you get that rolling with the businesses, that brings in money to City Hall. We like that. Then with the money at City Hall, we can do services and amenities, police, fire, parks. We can start providing better amenities to our citizens. With that comes a lower crime rate and an improved quality of life. And then with a lower crime rate and improved quality of life, we get more people, and the cycle goes round and round and round. So that kind of sets the stage for what we're going to be talking about today. Our population is a little over 36,000. Our planned growth at final build-out is just a little over 50,000, so we don't have too much more to go. Our median age is 35. I think these numbers somewhat ring true for the rest of the region of our Southwest Riverside County. But household median income, 67,000. Probably the most important piece on that slide, I think, is the travel time to work there at the bottom, 35 minutes. Now, that's just an average. There's a lot of people, including one of our council members, that drive a lot more time every morning to work. But that is down. That used to be 43 minutes. So it is starting to come down. And one of the things we're going to talk about in this presentation is our goal and our commitment to continuing to bring that down in Wildomar. We are a business-friendly city excited for growth and development. We are home to the region's only Trauma 2 hospital, which is Inland Valley Medical Center. We're very proud of that. We have incredible restaurants and retail in Wildomar's Miracle Mile, which we're going to talk about a little bit later in this presentation. And we have dubbed the Clinton Keith Road the super commercial corridor, because when you think about it, it's the only street that you can take straight from Tanaha all the way out to here. In fact, most of you took it this morning. So it's really becoming a super highway, and you have to cut right through Wildomar and parts of Marietta to get through there. So that's a very exciting opportunity for some of our retail and growth. We are the center of the Southern California market, and we're in close proximity, obviously, to those other larger areas. With our Measure AA sales tax, we have been able to add a medic squad, and what this will enable our fire department to do is every time that there's an EMS call or a call for paramedic service, basically, that we don't need to roll out the big truck. And that will be not only a cost saving for the city and for the fire department, but also lower response times and just all around better quality of life for our citizens. We will be adding that, I believe, in January. January or February is when we should be seeing that new paramedic vehicle hit the streets in Wildomar. We did already add a traffic cop. Hopefully none of you have met him personally on the streets. He's been out there in force. He's very proud of that. And we are too, because we're committed to keeping our streets very safe for our Wildomar residents. We want to make sure that everybody is safe and adhering to the laws of the road. Okay, our roads suck in Wildomar, we'll just be honest. Most of our roads need major improvement, and we know that. And that was one of the reasons why we really wanted to pass this Measure AA. We need, guess what, guys, and I know Marietta knows this, you have to have money if you want to fix things. So we were very pleased that Measure AA passed, especially in regards to our road maintenance and improvements. You will start seeing, like I said, the money won't fully be in the coffers until about April of next year. So we are still in that process. It just went into effect. The money doesn't flow in quite that fast, but we are starting to roll out a plan to improve Bundy Canyon, which desperately needs it. And you will start seeing some more road improvements throughout Wildomar as we continue to gain that sales tax and other avenues of revenue. We are also addressing our homelessness, along with the city of Lake Elsinore, SWAG, the city of Temecula, of course our partner next door, Marietta, and a lot of other agencies. It's a regional effort that we're doing to address the homelessness. We are very committed. You probably have seen some Facebook posts recently from our Riverside County Sheriff. They've been going underneath the freeway and cleaning out some of those tunnels and really making an aggressive push to make sure that everybody in Wildomar has a quality of life and make sure that the homeless folks that choose to go somewhere else, we get them to where they need to go and we can maintain that quality of life in Wildomar. So just one more thing that Measure AA is helping to address. As I said, we have a newly formed Economic Development Department. Woohoo! We formed it about 4 months ago, so that's how long I have been with Wildomar now. We are now very involved in doing business attraction, business retention, business growth. We have an ombudsman service now, which just means that it's like a business concierge service. So if you're looking to open a business in Wildomar, you can contact the Economic Development Department, which is me. I will make sure that you get to any of the city staff that you need to get your questions answered to make sure that you get open in a timely manner. Now, we always did that in the city of Wildomar. There just was not a centralized department to help you do that. We also do marketing consultations. I can go out and meet with our businesses and give them ideas of how to better do their marketing and bring in more clients. And I also serve as the public information officer, so we're really starting to see more traffic on our Facebook page, more information being shared with the community, and that was really one of the goals of the city of Wildomar. Our parks are very important in Wildomar, and as you guys probably know, we had a hard time passing Measure Z that has funded our parks, and that took a little while to do, but it is in action now, and we opened our 4th park, which is Mlaga Gateway. We do have a conceptual plan for more parks coming to Wildomar. We have a lot of different trails. There's a lot of bike trails, walking trails, and running trails in Wildomar. And also you saw on the video that we have a signature city event now, Rooted in Nature, the Brew Fest that we do with Santa Rosa Plateau Education Foundation. That will be coming in May, by the way. So if you want to get your brew on, set your calendars for May of 2020 for Wildomar. Some of our strengths, we are a startup city. I think that's what's so exciting about it. People have always asked me, why did you choose to leave a big city like Corona to go to a small city like Wildomar? It's a startup city. There's so much opportunity. It's like going from a corporation to a startup company. And you can imagine what some of the excitement would be about that. We get to create new processes every day. We get to sit in the room with the developer and come up with a new plan. It's not a large corporation that's hard to turn on a dime. It's a much smaller organization. We have a very team-oriented mindset there, and I think that's going to bode very well for developers. It already has when they've come to talk to us just in the past 4 months. We just have a really great team there. We are in Southwest Riverside County, California, and per Dr. Husing's presentation, I think we can all agree that that does seem to be the absolute best place to be, in my opinion, in the world. But we have that going for us. This is a beautiful county. I think we're in the most beautiful part of this county, and so that is definitely one of our strengths that we will use to our advantage. We're located right along the I-15 freeway, the primary corridor for this county. We are home to the region's only trauma center, as I mentioned earlier. Our city council and staff are very business-minded. I'm very thankful for that. And like I said, we're a small team at City Hall. I've never worked on such a small team before, and it has been really exciting. The decisions that we can make in the meetings with the developers right there on the spot, not have to get it checked through several different areas. So it's a very exciting time. Our Miracle Mile that I'll get into in a little bit, which is actually Clinton Keith. We stole that name from another city in the Los Angeles area, but we do feel like it is our Miracle Mile, and I'll get into why. And of course, the Marietta Wildomar Chamber of Commerce, the best chamber in the planet. And I was so thankful to come back to this area after having gone up north for a little bit and be part of this chamber once again, which I've been part of since '06. It truly is a wonderful chamber, and I know I'm preaching to the choir there. But, and you know, Dr. Husing alluded to, or didn't allude to, but said, retail is changing. We're going online, and a lot of the brick and mortars are changing now. And I think Wildemar is in a really good position because we don't have the big box stores, and some might see that as a challenge or a difficulty. But actually what we get to do as we move forward is, and as we speak to retail developers, we get to plan for the retail of the future. Because we still have so much vacant land, and so much of that land is slated for future retail and future commercial, we really have the opportunity to sit down with some forward-thinking, visionary developers and plan for a retail and what it would look like in the future. And we don't have some of the big box stores that we might have to creatively reuse pretty soon. So I see that as one of our strengths and not a challenge. I think it's very exciting. Some of our challenges. Other than you guys in this room, nobody knows where Wildemar is. So we're working on that every day. My goal is in the next year to 2 years that everybody within at least a 100-mile radius won't ask, where's Wildemar? So it is a challenge. We have to say, well, where Temecula is, yet, where Marietta, okay, that's where we're right next to there. So our goal is to really get the word out about where we are, who we are, and what we stand for so that that question is more easily answered. Our infrastructure. We have so much vacant land along the 15 freeway, but the infrastructure leading to it is going to be a challenge for some developers. It won't be impossible, but there's little to no infrastructure leading to some of those big vacant lots, and that is going to be a little bit of a challenge. We have water issues here in Southern California, and we have electricity issues, as Dr. Husing pointed out. So some of that infrastructure and building that infrastructure will be some of the hurdles that we'll have to overcome to get our vacant land developed. And of course, as much as I love California, it is a challenge. Most days, it is just a challenge. The things that are put in our way to try to stop us from really doing business well here, we overcome them. I think we do a really great job in this region by overcoming some of those hurdles that California puts in our place, but they certainly are a challenge and they do put hurdles there. So what's coming? Now that we have an economic development department, we can really focus, and the money coming in from those different measures that I told you about really gives us the ability to focus now on some of our more wish list items and not just survival mode. So we're focused on getting more exposure for our amenities. We have a fabulous dairy in Wildemar. I didn't even know that. I've lived next door to it for 20 years, pretty much. And it is a grow their own cows, milk their own cows, produce the milk. And I got to tell you, when I first went to Wildemar, everyone said, you got to try the chocolate milk. And I'm thinking, it's just chocolate milk. How good can it be? Well, we had it. I made sure I got a few gallons of it for the EDC meeting that we hosted earlier this month, and I got to tell you, it is the best chocolate milk I've ever had. So if you have not been to Dijon's Dairy and had some of their chocolate milk, try it. It's not just chocolate milk. So just getting more exposure to our amenities, getting everyone more familiar with who Wildemar is and what we have to offer. Like I said, we have an improved flow of information. We are more present on Facebook now. We're working more openly, I would say, just because we have someone that does that 24/7. So we didn't have that person before. So it was very hard to maintain. As you all know, you have to maintain your social media. You got to answer questions. You got to be on it kind of 24/7. So we are able to do that now. And just, for example, when we had the explosion in Marietta right next door to us, the house explosion, we had to get on that Facebook right away and steer people away from there. We needed to help Marietta close down Clinton Keith. And so things like that had been being done in the past, but it took away from someone else's job at City Hall because they had to stop and go do that. Well, now they've got someone there committed to doing that, and I'm very happy to do it. As you all know, I'm on Facebook quite a bit, so it worked out very well. We will be implementing more business workshops, meetups, and events. We do already have a commercial real estate meetup that we do every month. If you're interested in that, let me know. We meet at Tuscany Grill. I've been there 4 months, so I'm still in the process of creating some of those business workshops and meetups. But there will be more coming. Working on more identity and recognition for Wildemar, exposure to development opportunities, obviously, and more business and more sales tax revenue is the name of the game. So that's what we're working on. What else is coming to Wildemar? Well, We took a look at Baxter Road, and we noticed it has 5 different names as you move throughout the city. I don't know what it is about this region. We like to rename streets as you cross every intersection, because I know a couple of cities that do that as well. But what we really wanted was on the freeway signs, we really wanted a Wildemar recognition. So once again, as you're traveling through Wildemar pretty soon, as you're going through the 15 freeway, you will see, instead of Baxter Road, it will say Wildemar Trail. And that is going to be where City Hall is. It's Shopping Center Road, Shopping Center Drive, and then that turns into George, which turns into Porus, which turns into Baxter, which turns into Central. And it goes on and on and on. It might turn into like 12 more names, I'm not quite sure, but it's all going to be changed to Wildemar Trail. And that makes it a little easier for our first responders. It makes it easier for people moving about the city. But most importantly, I think to us, it gives us some name recognition as you're driving up and down the 15 freeway. We have a shooting academy coming to Wildemar. Now that is exciting. If you guys don't know, we don't have one in the region here. And our first responders especially are very excited about this, because this keeps them, once this is open, this keeps them from going all the way outside of our community. Not only that, it's going to draw people into our community. When those people come into our community, they will eat lunch, hopefully in Wildemar. They will eat lunch in our general area. They will do other things. So we're really looking forward to this indoor gun range coming to Wildemar. It will be on the corner of Bundy Canyon and Mission Trail. It goes to Planning Commission, I believe, in December, and it will be going to City Council in January. It right now is still a big empty lot, so it still has some time before it gets constructed and up and running. But really looking forward to that. It's going to have a rifle range. It's going to have a range dedicated to police and sheriff, and just a lot of really great amenities within that academy. As you can see, it's a little over 34, almost 35,000 square feet. It's going to be a big shooting range. It is a benefit to our region. So another thing that we're looking forward to as far as a future vision, now keep in mind, because we don't want to upset anybody, we're not just going to mow over any houses or anything. We need to do several studies, and we need to look at the opportunities here. But one of the things that we want to investigate and study is whether or not we can punch Corridon through to the freeway, thereby opening up another possible business corridor there. What does that look like? Does that look like retail? Does it look like commercial, office? We don't know. We're gonna have to study that. But if we can open up Corridon and punch that through to the freeway and make that an off-ramp there, that also opens up the Ortegas, gives you a different way to get to the 74. It really opens up even the south side of Lake Elsinore and the north side of Wildemar. So it's something that we will be studying and looking at for a future opportunity. Another vision that we have is, I don't know if you can see that circle, but it's kind of, we'll call it a 1 to 2 mile radius around City Hall, around Clinton Keith and the 15 area. How high can we go? Right now in Wildemar, you are approved to go 50 feet, which in today's terminology is about 4 stories. You can go about 4 stories without any extra approvals. But we're going to look at opportunities. How high can we go and for what uses? Do those look like hotels? Do those look like high-density office buildings? What do those look like? So we're going to be investigating those opportunities in Wildemar as well. And of course, jobs, jobs, jobs. Anybody who knows me knows that I believe the only way that we can cut the commute to Orange County and San Diego, the only way that we can get that traffic off the freeway is if we all create more jobs and high-paying jobs in the communities that we live in. We have got to get our residents staying here in town. I got to tell you, I did the commute and I only went to Corona. You know, some people go from here all the way into Orange County or beyond. That is an awful, awful way to live your life. You're not home ever. You can't enjoy your life. So more so than ever, I'm committed to bringing more jobs to Wildemar, and Wildemar has that vision as well. I believe for Wildemar, those jobs look like office jobs. We don't have as much industrial zoned in Wildemar as some of the other cities do, but we're gonna look at some different office space use, high density office space, and really seeing, you know, there's a lot of business people in the Tanaha, La Cresta area really trying to see if we can figure out where they're going every day, what kind of jobs they have, and is there an opportunity for them to bring those jobs to Wildemar. We're also, that's not the only piece of it, because that's missing a lot of pieces, of course, but one other piece of it is we are working with a local legislator to work on a incentive program that would incentivize employers to locate in the Southwest region, locate closer to where their employees are coming from. So we'll be working on that as well. Our Miracle Mile, one of my favorite things. So one of the great things about Clinton Keith is we have so many restaurants right there in that condensed area. It's kind of funny because most people think it's Marietta. And I used to use that to my advantage when I worked for Marietta. It was kind of cool. Now I work for Wildemar, so I'm going to tell you guys it's in Wildemar. So we have some really awesome restaurants. But one of the things that really got me excited is we just had a Premier Workspaces open up. So we have executive office suites now on the Miracle Mile in Wildemar. It's right above in that same plaza right off the 15 where Dunkin' Donuts is, and Taco Bell and Angelo's is in there. So it's up above on the second floor, and they're beautiful workspaces. Some of them have beautiful windows overlooking the 15 freeway and the hills right there, and every price point. So there's large offices with windows all the way down to smaller offices with no windows. There's virtual office, so there's a lot of office opportunity right now in Wildemar. I think these are going to get filled up fast. They just opened. We just had a grand opening for them earlier this month. So that gave me, what's really cool about it is it's right above the retail. So you can walk downstairs, there's yoga downstairs, there's Robex juice, there's Taco Bell, there's Angelo's, there's all sorts of amenities within that plaza that those people in those office spaces will be able to utilize every day. The Hive, if you haven't been to the Hive, I highly suggest it. It's on the corner of Palomar and Clinton Keith. They have, I'll just give you my pick, it is the pulled pork sliders. Absolutely phenomenal, but I hear that they're most well known for their fish and chips. Check it out. Very high-end, very well-done restaurant. Good entertainment, too. The Finch, also one of my favorites. If you guys follow me on Facebook, you know that I'm there very often. They have a great brunch menu and an excellent signature cocktail menu, and just, again, very high-end. And the reason why I'm pointing these out, because I know that the perception is not to think Wildemar has these types of uses. So I really want you guys to check it out. Give us a try. Come on over to Wildemar. And the Bean, awesome independent coffee shop, which, there's another location in Temecula that maybe you've been there, or hopefully you've been to ours as well. They have a large conference room in there. Very cool setup for a coffee shop. Tuscany Grill, you'll see those lamb lollipops there on the top of the screen. Those are the best lamb lollipops I've ever had. This is where we hold our commercial real estate meetup every month. It's the fourth Wednesday of every month. Anybody's welcome to attend. And this gives us the opportunity to really stay in contact with our commercial brokers, our property owners. Anyone having anything to do with commercial real estate is welcome to attend. Usually Patrick is there as well. The EDC, Don Murray is usually there, as well as Kim Cousins from the Lake Elsinore Chamber. It is really a regional push to stay in front of our brokers, stay in front of our commercial development partners, and make sure that we're all rowing in the same direction to bring the types of businesses and jobs that we want to this area. And Tricino's, our city manager's favorite place to go for dinner. Very excellent food, and once again, just really want to show you the quality that we exude in Wildemar and on our Miracle Mile. A lot of great entertainment, nightly entertainment. In fact, Tuscany Grill just announced that they're going to be having Rocky Osborne there once a month. Make a reservation, because I didn't last week, and I almost didn't get in because it was packed. But it was really a good time. Very, very glad to have Rocky back and making us all laugh again. It's very awesome. And with that, that concludes my presentation. There's my contact information. If there's anything I can ever help you out with in Wildemar, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the City of Marietta portion of the Economic Outlook. This is an interesting timing. Every year we hold this event at the same time that Patrick is transitioning from depression and into acceptance of the Dodgers' most recent humiliating playoff defeat. So, Patrick, it's good to have you back with us. Things are going to be okay. 2020 will be better. But I'm in economic development, so I'm overly optimistic about everything. So once a year, we get the chance to get out and talk to you guys about the health of our economy, our startups, the state of our jobs, and Dave Roberts' pitching change decisions. And we do this for a reason. The Public Policy Institute of California, thank you for this information, Councilmember White, just came out with a study, and they found out that the most important issue facing the state today was economic development. It was jobs in the economy. Statewide, it was a tie with homelessness. And in this region, Riverside, San Bernardino County area, it was the #1 issue facing the state. So jobs in the economy are important, and so presumably is the proper usage of Clayton Kershaw. That's enough on the Dodgers for now. So I would like to marvel at 5 possible futures for the city of Marietta. I should just hold the mic. I hate mics. Okay. I would like to marvel at 5 possible futures for the city of Marietta. And there's a lot of different paths we can hit, and thank you for getting that reference. There's a lot of different paths that we can head in from here, and too many to go through. I think there's like 14 million in one. But I'm going to start with just 5 of them to talk about different ways we could see our economy grow. First of all, we could see the economy turn southward. And in this case, you hear a lot of ramblings about this, that we've got an inverted yield curve, and there's trade wars, and there's stagnating corporate profits, and everything looks like it's heading bad, not from venerable economists like Dr. John Husing, but out there throughout the world of the economy, you hear this all the time. And if that were to happen, then funding stops, and development projects in the city stop, and everything slows down. And that would be a slippery slope to an evil state of affairs. Next up, another choice for us is the slow progress, the long game, where we continue to build our economy through the health of business startups and new businesses coming into the community, working with employers to make sure that they're finding the workforce they need, working with our major industry partners like healthcare and manufacturing to make sure that they're getting all the resources they need, the long game, making sure that we grow a balanced and stable economy. Another choice is the short game. Something big happens. For example, the development of the Triangle. We get a major retail development that becomes a domino to start other development within the city. Finally, the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development has said, we want to invest in inland Southern California, or so they say. They say, we finally realize there's places other than coastal regions to invest in, and we want to start paying our attention out there. And that could come in a variety of forms. That could come through mass transit. It could come from infrastructure building. They could put a Cal State in Riverside County. Could you imagine a world where we have a Cal State in Riverside County with 2.5 million people? Any of those would be a big boon to our economy. And then finally, we all know that Patrick Ellis has been angling for high political office for some time. And if he were to become the governor, for example, then we could be the beneficiary of his good graces. So remember, be zealous and vote Ellis in 2022. So, on to demographics. We've got great numbers, the best numbers. Nobody has numbers like us. Our average household income is over $100,000. That's the average or the mean household income. Our education rates, we have about 28% have a bachelor degree rate, much higher than the county averages. Really important, this is going to be important later on, our labor force is at 52,000. So we have, of our 115,000 residents, 52,000 are in the workforce. And our mean age is 34 to 37, median and average. Most importantly on here to me is our daytime population. We cannot be called a bedroom community anymore when there's over 100,000 residents in Marietta every single day. It's just not true. We have 100,000 people here every single day. We are not a bedroom community. We are turning into a job hub. And speaking of job hubs, I'd like to point out our job growth. So in the last 5 years, we've increased our jobs by 14.6%. So during a boom economy, when the national rate grew by 6.9, we've more than doubled that. This is imperative to the growth of the city that we continue to grow jobs faster than we grow people. So, when we don't really grow people, let's say population. So, last year when I came and reported to you, we were around 41,200 workers in the city. This year, 41,200 jobs in the city. This year, we're at 42,200. We've grown by nearly 1,000 jobs in just the last year. So at that rate, we're going to make up the delta here very quickly. Thank you, Ivan, for that great word. We're going to make up that delta very quickly. Remembering the last slide, we had 52,000 people in our workforce. Right? Or we have 52,000 workers here in the city of Marietta. We have 42,000 jobs now. We're only 10,000 short. And I shouldn't be excited about being 10,000 jobs short, but I'm amazingly excited about being 10,000 jobs short. We have never been this close. This gap is closing rapidly. We are turning into a place where people can live and work at home and at least have the option to live and work at home. One piece I want to point out to you about this, it is really important that you grow quality jobs. And in the city of Marietta, we have quality jobs. Healthcare is one of our major industry providers. They are expected to grow by 13% in the next 5 years, and that bodes really well for us and the focus that we have. And now moving into population. In the last 5 years, our population has grown by 8.1%. In the last 10 years, it's grown by 11.2%. So in the same time period that we grew by 14.6% in jobs, we grew by 8.1% in population. So we're very, very close there, right? So almost doubling the number of jobs that we are growing by population. So that statistic is also bodes very well for us. As long as we continue down this path, and it's imperative that we do this, we're going to catch that number and be a place where you can live and work at home. Next up, employment. This is a kind of an ironic statistic. This year, the Dodgers playoff winning percentage was the exact same as our unemployment rate at 2.9%. Last year, that number was 3.2%. And as you look around the region, the state of California is at 3.3%. Riverside, San Bernardino County is at 3.7%. And what does this mean? We win. So not exactly like the Dodgers. Oh, stop. It's just the Dodgers. So I know it's contradictory. I just got done telling you we're 10,000 jobs short, we're 10,000 jobs short. And one of the challenges that we're going to have with this is that when you have a really low unemployment rate of 2.9%, companies can't expand. They can't find workers. There's no way that a company can expand when everybody already has a job. And so one of the things we try to do to combat that is we host an annual job fair. We have one coming up February 11th. If you own a business, please come out to it. If you don't have a job here, please come get one. We sit in a position of needing workers for expanding businesses. There are companies here right now who can't expand simply because they cannot find somebody to come in and fill those jobs. And yet, we're 10,000 jobs short. The difference is that there's this strong gravity that comes from the coastal communities where they're pulling jobs away from us. And I think people think that you can't find a good job here at home and you can't find high pay here at home, and that's just not true. The incomes are going up here, as Dr. Kusing alluded to. So speaking of incomes, state of California is 75,000 median family income. The country is about 65,000. The Inland Empire is about 65,000. Oh, I said Inland Empire. By the way, I like Inland Region or Inland Southern California. We're not an empire. We're not empirical. We don't go and conquer our neighbors. We're not imperialists. So let's say Inland Southern California. Inland Southern California is at 65,000 for the median family income. Marietta is at 84,000. That's the median, not the mean. If we were on this graph, we would be sitting right next to Seattle in terms of median family income. We'd be in the top 4 in the country if we were a major metropolitan area. So our incomes here are extraordinarily strong. And where do we make this money? Well, our top occupations are in office and professional, legal, healthcare, personal professional services, education, government. And our workforce, which is a little bit different, that's what people working, not everybody here works in the city of Marietta. So our workforce's top paying jobs are in management, healthcare, legal, and architectural, and life sciences. And what I find interesting about that is there's a lot of overlap between the two, and that's why I think our job fair can be so successful. There's a lot of overlap between the jobs that our top employed workers make and the jobs that are available here. Next up, I'd like to talk about business growth. So when I first started here in 2017 and did my first presentation to you, we had 1,250 less businesses than we do today. So we have grown 1,250 businesses in the last 2 years. Right now we sit at 10,252 licensed businesses in the city of Marietta, which is just a vast improvement over 2018. And in businesses that are located in the city of Marietta, there's 5,092. That means that their home base is in Marietta and they're doing business in Marietta. So we've seen fantastic business growth here in the city, and it just continues. And I think that's the big driver for us. We're seeing a lot of small businesses come in. And you can see that right here on the next slide. So right now, this is the sizes of the businesses that are in Marietta. In businesses of 1 to 4 employees, we grew by 0.5%, and that's shown by all those new businesses that were coming in. Most businesses that come in are between 1 and 4 employees. But businesses from 5 to 9 employees dropped in size. Every business thereafter went up. So we lost about 0.5% of businesses from 5 to 9 employees, but we went up by 5.5% in businesses of 10 to 19. Every business category, every business size category in the city of Marietta grew in size in the last year. And what's happening is that companies here are all growing and expanding, and they're moving down that category list to having more and more employees. The only ones that didn't grow were 500 plus because we didn't have any new companies of 500 plus. So businesses in Marietta are like Leon in the movie Airplane. They're getting larger. And if you don't get that, you're a millennial. So I want to put out a notice to any investor in the region. So if you are an investor and you came to the Riverside County area because you thought, wow, land prices are great here, I'm going to invest in real property, we are coming after you. We are calling upon you literally. We have a list, and we're going to call every single accredited investor in Riverside County. We have formed a steering committee that consists of Temecula, Marietta, UC Riverside, Wildemar's partnering with us, and we're going to reach out to every accredited investor and showcase for them the value of intellectual property in South Riverside County. We have 4 companies in the Innovation Center who've recently received funding. We just got a $500,000 Series A seed round fund for Gattico, who creates a medical device. Marietta Genomics received funding to come into our Innovation Center, Alliance Research Centers, as well as TX Genetics. These are the kind of stories that you don't hear in Riverside County, and these are the things that are happening here right now. Our businesses are investable, and we want to form an angel group that starts investing in local companies, not only in real property. And these are the tenants in the Marietta Innovation Center. It's really important to take a look at this. This is what it's supposed to be. We have companies up there with long, funky names that you can't spell. They're very imposing on a Words with Friends board. You get a lot of points, and they're esoteric. You don't know what they're all doing. These are the kind of companies that we're looking to grow and incubate here in the city. Biotech companies of a kind of a different ilk than what we have in the region that weren't coming to us on their own, but come to Marietta to get the chance to grow and start. And these are some of the things we've been doing with our biotech companies. In June, in partnership with InsoCal Connect, we held an evening of innovation out at Bear Creek. And thank you for coming to that, Councilmember White. And during this evening of innovation, we had our biotech companies pitch their products, their innovations, to JP Morgan Chase and Microsoft for startups in a room that was standing room only. There's pictures of it there, and there's people standing, and it's not contrived. We didn't prop that. It was standing room only. People wanted to see this. And the next step from that, we took those same companies up to Silicon Valley, and they all pitched in a sold-out room in Silicon Valley in front of their investors. And the feedback we got from that was amazing. First of all, people want to invest in our businesses. Second of all, 9 companies came to us and said, we want to move to Marietta and work with you guys. We got to get out of Silicon Valley. There's no opportunity for us here. So there is really good things going on here. Next year, we have joined Life Science Nation, and we're going to be a sponsor at 2 events, which is the largest biotech investor group in the country. And we're taking all of our companies to Life Science Nation to showcase what kind of innovations we have right here. We're starting to get a name in outward regions for investment in life science. And then finally, we have a local Marietta startup, which is a networking event that brings local, smaller startups together to get the opportunity to network and drink coffee. But not all news is good news. Some of it is journalism. And in Marietta, the bad news is retail vacancy is still too high. A couple of years ago, we were at 10%. We're down to 7.5% now, which is better, but still not good enough. 7.5%, the region sits around 6%. So we're still higher than the region in retail vacancy. If you took our 2 lowest occupied centers out of play, you would find that we would be sitting right in line with the region. But we have those 2 unoccupied centers. They exist and have mass and time and space, so we have to count them. And since we have to count them, we have to work on getting them filled. One of them is undergoing a major renovation right now. They are putting in new signage and new entryways and refacing the whole center. And they have 4 big box tenants that are lined up to go in there. One of them being Floor and Decor, which is going to fill 80,000 square feet. So investment in the center is really helping to spur some growth. And so next year at this time, I would anticipate with the refilling of one center, which is Marietta Town Center, and future developments like the Commons are coming in front of Holiday Inn Express, where 3 restaurants are lined up to go in there. As those start to come in and fill space, we should see these numbers drop, but for today, they're still too high. Next up is office vacancy. Now in office vacancy, it's a little more explainable. Our rates sit at about $2.15 a square foot, and the region sits at $1.88, so we're a little bit more expensive. We have more professional and medical office space, so we have a little bit higher vacancy. Once again, we sit around 7.5%, and the region sits around 6.1. So we're very, very close, but we're still a little bit higher. Industrial vacancy, a couple of things. First of all, there's an aberration in the numbers. We usually sit in the 2% range. We're still there. We just have one large piece that shouldn't be counted in this, that's counted in this, that's going to be filled up right now. So that number should be lower, but the region sits at 5.5%, and we sit at 3.7%. So we actually have lower industrial vacancy than the region, and we have a little bit higher rates. Our rates sit at about $1.07, whereas the region's at about 88 cents. So we have higher rates, and we have lower vacancy, and that's because we have a supply problem. We need more industrial buildings here, and we're aware that we need more industrial buildings here. The first step of that is fixing some infrastructure issues, which we're actively working on right now. I always hesitate to put up year in review stuff because you can't get everybody. I'll show you a slide with everybody just to make up for it, but lots of new stuff is coming into the city. Encompass Health is going to be opening within a month. That's 250 new high-paying jobs in the region, right below Loma Linda University Medical Center, who, by the way, is doing an expansion and adding 50% to their emergency department, so that was desperately needed in the region. Other expansions include innovative engineering solutions, and Nitobo. So there's other companies that are expanding here in the city, but we've got in Encompass Health Springs, just got their federal and state licensing completed. There's another couple hundred high-paying jobs in the community. Bob's came in and filled the Babies R Us space, Black Bear Diner, Auto Gallery, Holiday Inn Express. All of those are coming in right now. And then we've got new stuff coming in. In the next year or so, we're looking at Floor & Decor coming in and filling a space. Fresenius Medical Care is building very, very quickly across the street from City Hall. That's a kidney dialysis medical office building. We have a 3-story mixed-use building coming into our downtown. Obviously, the Vineyard's going to come in with Costco. We have McKenna Medical Centers, which are building 125,000 square feet of medical office space just below Loma Linda. And then we've got 2 large hotel projects. Each one of them has major conference space in it. One of them has a wedding and event center. One of them has a large conference area, which is another thing that we just don't have in the region that we desperately need. And of course, Prestige Golf Course Cars is about to open down Jefferson. This is the full development pipeline. There are people who want to come to the city and bring new businesses and jobs. We are always full, and this is always available on our website. You can go on and see what developments we have going on. Housing, thank you very much, Councilmember Wunderlich, for the numbers. We're up 2% from last year, $445,000. I know I got them right because I got them from council. And why do people want to move to the city of Marietta? I can't be wrong. So why do people want to move to the city of Marietta? Because we have a safe foundation. Because we have the best fire department around. Chief Lancer is here with us today. They battled the Tanaha fires without one structure lost. We are the 3rd safest city in the country this year in terms of lowest violent crime. So this year we came in 3rd. We're always in the top 3. People want to live here because it's safe. And I hit something and make it go away. Okay, and we have solid health care. It's healthy. We have great major partners here with Rancho Springs Medical Center, Loma Linda, Kaiser, Rady's, all doing fantastic work, and then the new openings like Encompass Health in the Springs. Our downtown is getting a major boost with a new project. We just had a groundbreaking for the new town center park, which is going to have amphitheater seating, and it's going to have Wi-Fi and bathrooms. It's going to be a beautiful project right in the middle of our downtown. That, coupled with the existing strong businesses we have there and the new mixed-use project, make downtown very intriguing. It's a beautiful place to live. Visit Santa Rosa Plateau sometime. This is why we live here. And we have a lot of partners, and I really would like to focus on one today, which is the Marietta-Wildomar Chamber of Commerce. We do a lot of work with them, and Rhonda, Heather, Kim, Mike with a Y for some reason, and that other guy, we work with them because they get stuff done. They execute. Every time we go together with them on an event, they get the word out and they make sure it has a strong turnout. Just evidence today. People showed up to listen to me say anything, which is absurd. So that just shows the strength of the Chamber of Commerce. And I will say this to my gallant bosses here. True genius comes from simplifying the complex. And that is the job of our executive team every single day. They take esoteric thoughts and concepts and codes and make them very, very easy and palatable for people to digest. That is what they do. We have a strong city council headed by our mayor, Mr. Kelly Ciarto. They have made economic development a priority in the city of Marietta. It is a key focus for the city, and I'm grateful for that because we work in economic development. And this is the we of economic development. Mr. James Wirtz is in here today, Carly Terrell, and myself. And we are available anytime, day or night, every day of the week. We have sources because who knows why. And finally, let me just say, there's a lot of ways to get a hold of this, but I'd like to close in just letting you know that whatever path we follow in the city of Marietta, it's going to be a successful one. We have really great talent here. We have fantastic prospects here. We have really, really, really solid foundation. We are not avoiders of our destiny. We are not dodgers of our destiny. We are truly nationals. We are truly nationals growing. Let me get it out. I can't finalize. We're truly nationals growing with our country and our economy. Thank you.